So, okay, my name is Anthony Overton, and I have the pleasure of working at Paso Robles High School. I wear many hats at Paso Robles High, but my most important one is that I'm a teacher of students. That brings me back to my credentialing days with Nancy, actually one of our most amazing mentors, and she reminded us pretty regularly that we weren't training to become science or chemistry teachers or biology teachers or physics teachers, but ultimately teachers of students. And you know, in my time now as a professional educator, I see the importance of making sure that we are doing what is best for students, even if that means having some uncomfortable conversations as adults. So today, I get to share the story of the Paso Robles High School Science Department team and our adventure doing what we feel is best for students in implementing NGSS through an integrated science approach. So today, I'm going to bring you the Bearcat experience. I use the word experience intentionally because when I think of an experience, I'm thinking challenge. It's going to push us. I'm thinking learning. We're going to learn something from this ourselves. And last but not least, growth. This is something that is not, we're going to figure it out the first day. It's going to take time. And I think a lot of us can say that they have had their own experience with NGSS. I'm going to introduce the people, the goals that we had as a department in this implementation, where we are today, and where we hope to be in the next couple of years as NGSS fully implements at the high school level. So, meet the team. These These have to be 12 of the most dedicated and outstanding science teachers you'll find anywhere. And I'm bragging about them because they're amazing. This group includes 2 top 5 nominees for California Science Teacher of the Year. John Paul Ewing was nominated in 2015, and Mark Fairbank actually won that award in 2009 and worked on the part of the writing of the NGSS. These people live and breathe science education. John Paul and Galen, pictured in the bottom left, that's their 1-year-old, Jupiter. No joke. Okay, we're serious about science. All right, so actually, this team, we teach over 15 different science courses at the high school, from marine biology, engineering, robotics, anatomy, physiology, AP Chem, physics, bio, and if they let us teach something else, we would do it. And that's in addition to our normal Earth, bio, chem, and physics curriculum, which we'll see here in a minute is kind of going away. So those are the people. Let's talk about the goals. So I want to back up to our common belief and vision in our district that all students will have success. And all students will be prepared to have success in college, career, and community. And that's an and, by the way, not an or. Every student. And that's important. And we saw that linkage in that in terms of when we went to the NGSS implementation at our site. The first thing that we read, and it's hard to swallow, is that all students will get all standards, period. It's not vague. And that is something that secondary educators, I think, are struggling with. We wanted to make sure that our NGSS implementation had a real-world focus through the core ideas, cross-cutting principles, and science practices in the NGSS that Kurt talked about. Fantastic, so now I don't have to. And last but not least, we want to make sure that our students are being prepared to be top candidates at the 4-year level. Paso Robles High School had 138 students over the last 5 years graduate completing 5 or more science classes with a B or better. Last year, 60 kids did that, 5 science classes, of which 42 of them went into a STEM major in college. We want to make sure that that tradition continues while bringing on this new program. So we saw the change coming 3 to 4 years ago, and we started to adapt. How are we going to get these cross-cutting principles and science practices more embedded into our program? And we started working on it. We started getting the data, analyzing stuff, looking at how we can thread topics together. But ultimately, we felt like we had an old car, and we just painted it the blue, orange, and green NGSS colors, and realized we didn't change anything under the hood. It was still the same old car. So then we started to think, how can we grow our programs? How can we make them better? We started integrating earth science into our chemistry and physics classes, but still struggled to get the ecology pieces into biology where the curriculum was already so impacted. We also realized some of the stuff that we used to teach that was near and dear to our heart maybe wasn't as important as it used to be. Maybe it was more about thinking. and how we process information, and what we want to do to be explorers of the world. So we decided to innovate. We bulldozed the curriculum. And I'm serious, right down to the ground. And we said, what can we build that has NGSS at its heart and what is best for students in Paso Robles High School? That is where we knew that was going to come with a lot of challenges, from CSUF articulation, working with our middle school feeder programs, teacher credentialing, teacher expertise, which some of us, we all hold near and dear, available curriculum, the old curriculum that we didn't want to let go of. And we're still finding about challenges. Today, my district athletic director talked to me and he's like, NCAA doesn't like these integrated classes. And I was like, give me the phone number, I'll call the guy. All right, we'll figure it out. So that brings us to where we are right now, the present. Where we are right now is Science Academy. Science Academy is a 3-year, fully integrated course built from the NGSS core principles of the core ideas, the cross-cutting concepts, as well as the scientific practices, right at the heart. Our Science Academy program is required for graduation. All students, all standards. It is going to be focused in a real-world lens. All the units, every one of them, has got to be applicable to every student. We want to make sure that they're going to still be CSUF eligible, and our courses have been approved in the Area D once you've completed the fully integrated course. And last but not least, we wanted to create an accelerated program to allow students to still have access to our top-tier advanced electives, so they can still be those top candidates applying to Stanford, UC Berkeley, or wherever they want to go in their future. So we created this 3-year program where the 4th year and their senior year, they would have the option of taking an additional science class. And like I said earlier, a lot of our students are dual enrolling. We have kids in their junior and senior year taking 2 science classes instead of an elective. It's amazing. We also wanted to create an accelerated 2-year program where we took the 2nd year, split the curriculum into the 1st and 3rd year, and then made it a 2-year program. Now that seems like it's a lot, but our kids can handle it. We push them, but if our students in Paso Robles have shown us anything, is they're up for a challenge. This will open up their junior and senior year for those advanced elective programs, making sure that they can still achieve those top-tier candidate spots for those CSUF applications. So today we have integrated in the freshman level. We've done it. It's happening. It happened today. This is a team of 6 educators that took on that challenge for the 1st year. Most of them, I'll be honest, are 1st-year teachers or 2nd-year teachers. They didn't really have much of a choice, to be honest. But, they owned it, though. It's their curriculum, and they frankly didn't know any better. All right? And now they just think this is the way you do it. Right? Now, it wasn't just them, though. I have to go back and say, you have to remember the first picture of the entire science team. I'm not in this picture. I don't teach Science Academy 1 or Honor Science Academy 1, but I sit in every one of their collaborations as the chemistry lens. Mark Fairbank is there as the physics lens. Mark DiMaggio is there as our earth environmental lens. And these people receive any support and all the support they could possibly imagine to develop the best curriculum for students. Our district has given us time and money to make this happen, which has been vital to the success of the program. And we just couldn't be happier with where we're at. So let's look at what an integrated unit's got to look like. First, it's got to have topics from multiple core areas. They have to have some sort of emphasizing some sort of cross-cutting principle that runs throughout them, and they got to be focused on what the students are doing, the science practices. They have to have a foundation in the real world, and we want to make sure that they're locally relevant. We're not going to be able to buy a textbook for our curriculum because no one's got stuff that is right here in Paso Robles or San Luis Obispo County. So we're embedding that in. And last but not least, we wanted to make sure that all the topics were developmentally appropriate for the grade level that we're teaching them in. I think we've all sometimes wondered, like if you have a freshman biology class, are all freshmen really ready for evolution? It's a difficult concept to understand. Maybe that needs to come later. And do we really need to wait to teach atoms and molecules and Newton's basic laws until they get into a sophomore and junior chemistry and physics class? No way. Let's get those where they can handle it and it helps reinforce their algebra skills. So let's look at a unit. You are what you eat. This is one of our units. Now, how many biologists do I have in the room? Biologists out there? You guys are thinking, there's topics here, right? I've got things like anaerobic and aerobic conditions, cellular respiration, body systems, and biomolecules. We can talk about those things that we're getting from our food. How many chemists do we have in the room? Oh, good, there was a couple. I was a little concerned. I'm a chemist going, how do you talk about cellular respiration if you don't have chemical equations? How do you do it if you don't have Lewis dot structures and atomic structure, right? And then, if we're talking about calories, let's do calorimetry. Let's do it. So we get this fully embedded. We get both life science and physical science topics in one unit, linked together by this really common thing that students are learning about, not only in science, but their health classes, and things like that. Aligned to the performance expectations of the NGSS. Okay, now, are there any earth scientists in the room? Couple? You're probably like, what about us? You didn't talk about earth science. Okay, I got one for you. Energy, the sun, and life on earth. Yeah, it's really big, right? So obviously we narrowed it down. We focused on one cross-cutting principle, energy, and how it stems kind of through this, from the big picture of the sun, right down to the homes that our students are living in. So we looked at the topics, energy and energy transfer, how energy transfers in and out of earth systems, looked at photosynthesis and plants, as well as got down to those engineering principles where we asked our students to build an energy-efficient home, a model at least, okay? And then we had them test it. We had them build them, we put heat lamps over, we saw which home was the most resistant to the thermal change on the interior. But in addition to that, we said, hey, by the way, cardboard costs $1 a square inch, aluminum foil costs $5 a square inch, toothpicks cost 10 cents a piece, I don't know, there was all kinds of prices. And they had to not only build a thermally efficient house, but they also had to build a cost-efficient house. So the winning house was really the lowest cost to thermal efficiency ratio. So we're building in the mathematics, we've got a real-world problem, and they have to embed all of those things they learned in all of the courses. It's fantastic work. In additional units in year one, we're looking at staying alive, dynamic earth. Our Science Academy 2 program also includes the Paso Robles water basin, bringing in local natural resource topics, starting to think about bigger picture natural resource problems. We have units, we brought back in for our advanced units, the heredity and evolution, right? Okay, they're high school kids. It's in their repertoire. Yeah, it's up there, right? Okay? Everyone's laughing. I can see it out there. And then last but not least, we wanted to tie it all together at the end of the year with one final unit where we called Science, Fact, or Fiction. Where they're going to look at all these topics that are up here, from local like organisms to the earth, to local resources, to evolution and survival of species. And how does that apply to some sort of science fiction piece? What would really have to occur for the Martian to be real? What was fact, what was fiction in that movie? This picture is Coruscant from Star Wars, nerding out right now, yes? Okay. It's a city-wide planet. Anyone can think of some problems that might go along with having a planet that's completely covered by a single city? Yeah. So we're going to ask our students to evaluate that through the lenses that they've learned all year long. So that's where we are today. We're looking at we're gearing up now to start developing our second year course and our second year honors course, which we're really excited about. Units include Diablo Nuclear Power Plant. And it's not just the power plant we're looking at, but the ecology that goes on, the fault lines and concerns about earthquakes. We have power generation, nuclear fission, it's all there. What about car crashes? What better to teach a bunch of sophomores about ready to get their licenses, right? Come on, physics, body systems. What happens when you smack up against the steering wheel, right? Okay. So we've got, what's another one? And space exploration. Everyone loves space, right? But not just the space component, but how does your body react to a zero gravity environment, as well as how do we communicate the farther you get away? Let's bring the physics in, okay? We've got all kinds of units that got cut off. Got a little PowerPoint. Year 3, on the chalkboard, digital world, engineering for the future, deep history, ecology, natural resources. Still work in progress. And last but not least, we want to make sure we can still get to these advanced electives that we offer at Paso Robles High School. Because these are the things that we feel are getting kids to the next level. They're getting kids excited about science. I mean, kids are giving up electives so they can take marine biology with Mr. Ewing. Like, people are giving up electives to do anatomy, physiology, all of the AP classes. We have several kids that complete all 3 over time. So it's exciting work. So I've got to talk about the people, I've got to talk about our goals, where we're at, and where we're hoping to be in the next 2 years. I really want to thank our science department. They're the real workhorse here, our district, and most of all you guys for listening to me. Thank you.